Real question. If your local grocery didn't close, it just reopened with half the brands and brighter lights, did you lose options or just get reprogrammed? Today, 10 closures expose the 2026 store flipping trend that swaps variety for efficiency. We'll map how thin 1 to 3% margins, expiring leases, and underperforming locations become fuel for conversions and dark stores serving delivery apps. Watch through number 4 and number 2. Those show how national chains prune healthy towns to protect the portfolio, not because you stopped shopping. You're not ready for which banners vanish and which discount format replaces them. Before we continue, hit subscribe so you never miss the latest updates. Number 1. Kroger grocery stores. Your Kroger didn't fail, you got portfolio managed. Why does that feel worse? Because the lights were on, the carts were full, and then boom, locked doors and a paper sign about aligning for future growth. It's real. It's happening. After the merger drama, Kroger trims roughly 60 locations and calls it simplification. Translation, they're cutting overlap, cleaning up lease headaches, and steering money toward the parts of the map that actually scale. Sounds clinical because it is. They're pruning the tree, not torching the orchard. But here's the catch. Stores with steady traffic still get axed. Why? Lease terms outrank loyalty. If 2 units share a trade area and one has a gnarly rent bump or a tired layout, that's the one on the chopping block. Low margin drag wins the argument. Your favorite cashier doesn't get a vote, the spreadsheet does. Let's break it down with ground truth. Think Texas suburb exits where you've got a Kroger 5 minutes from a sibling banner, plus a club store down the highway. Or the Nashville ring, where you can drive 10 minutes and hit 3 viable alternatives. Redundancy kills sites, even if the parking lot is half full on a Tuesday. That's not failure, that's overlap. Here's the thing, grocery margins live at 1 to 3%. That's thinner than a gas station coffee lid. Any box that slows capital for digital, app upgrades, curbside lanes, better inventory systems, gets marked optional. Optional means close if rent rises. Closures free cash for fulfillment nodes and speed, fewer boxes, bigger engines. You'll see more money go into click and collect staging, temperature-controlled holding, and app-driven promos that target you at 4:52 p.m. when you're weak and hungry. They'd rather use 1 refreshed hub to serve 5 zip codes than keep 3 tired stores limping along. Analysts call this portfolio hygiene, not punishment. Triage for scale, patch the strong arteries, clamp the bleeders, and move the blood to e-commerce. It sounds cold because it is, and it works because your weekly habits already shifted onto your phone. You're not ready for the twist. Some of these dark boxes won't come back as grocers. They'll come back as logistics light, cross-dock rooms, last-mile staging, maybe a pickup counter with no browsing aisle. The shell looks familiar. The guts are all delivery. So the mini payoff here, Kroger's pruning isn't retreat. It's consolidation into fewer, better boxes, plus faster online, less square footage, more throughput, less end cap theater, more algorithm. Number 2, Macy's, a fashion store closing, and your grocery options shrink? That's the 2026 crossover nobody asked for. You walk in for denim, you walk out with a latte and a box of fancy crackers until the lights go down and the snacks go with them. Let that sink in. Macy's closures don't just pull mannequins. They pull the cafes, the gourmet kiosks, the curated pantry corners that were engineered to keep you lingering. Those little food zones propped up traffic, softened the hard edges of mall errands, and made grab a bite, grab a gift, a single trip. When the anchor goes dark, the food perks go silent. Here's the catch. Mall-based grocery adjacencies, those pop-ups and specialty counters, depend on a steady parade. Remove the parade and the booths suffocate. In dense urban nodes, losing that one-stop convenience hits harder because options within the same block are already tight and pricey. The errand that took 9 minutes now takes 30. Anchor logic is brutal. The anchor supplies oxygen. Co-tenants breathe it. When the anchor exits, co-tenants tied to its footfall lose air, then sales, then leases. Food vendors get hit first because they run on volume and impulse. No flow, no fries. Hybrid retail was a bet that soft goods would subsidize snackable groceries. You browse a jacket, you buy a kombucha. That bundle is unwinding. The minute Macy's shutters, the cross-sell loop breaks. You don't drift past the cafe, so the cafe loses the casual spend that made the math pencil. Look at downtown sites that leaned on office worker lunch traffic. Those in-store cafes and small markets captured the 12-22 rush. Soup, salad, back to the desk, close the store, and that convenient lane disappears. Workers either pay more at street-side gourmet spots or walk further to a limited menu. It's death by detour. So landlords pivot. They court discounters that promise consistent traffic without the frills, or they carve a chunk into micro-fulfillment to power click-to-collect. That flips the energy of the space. Less strolling, more staging racks, more parcels than pastries. Here's the weird part. A fashion square can turn into a delivery hub faster than a grocer can replace it. Logistics needs shelving, scanners, and dock doors. A full grocery needs fixtures, refrigeration, health permits, and a complex supply rhythm. One is a sprint, one is a marathon. Number 3, CVS pharmacy/grocery hybrid. When a CVS closes, you don't just lose prescriptions. You lose 9 p.m. milk runs. That last-minute cereal, the frozen pizza, the emergency baby formula, gone with the pharmacy hours. It feels small until it hits you on a Tuesday night. CVS is trimming underperforming stores. The pharmacy/grocery hybrid worked because pharmacy margins floated the convenience aisle. You paid a little more for milk, but you got speed and proximity. It's the Uber of groceries. Not cheap, but it shows up when you need it. Let that sink in. But here's the catch. In underserved neighborhoods, the drugstore is the pantry. No full-service grocer nearby, and the corner market closes early. When a CVS darkens, the map grows holes. The late-night category disappears. That's a food desert, not in headlines, but in practice. After 7 p.m., the choices collapse to gas stations and delivery apps with fees that feel like a cover charge. Look at transit-light suburbs on the edge of metro rings. The bus doesn't help, and sidewalks vanish halfway down the block. The next full grocer is a 10-minute drive and 20 if traffic is dumb. People who relied on that CVS for staples now face a decision. Pay surge for a ride, pay delivery, or skip the item and stretch the fridge another day. Here's the real estate math. These are small boxes squeezing high turns out of a tight set of essentials. That model demands clean shelves, quick restocks, and steady impulse. Shrink and theft crush it. One bad month of loss isn't a bad day. It's the margin for the quarter. A handful of cooler doors broken for a week and the category's upside vanishes. At the top level, capital is moving into healthcare services. Clinics, telehealth, specialty pharmacy. That money doesn't sit in slow stores. If a location can't swing clinic volumes or justify security spend, it slides to the closure list. The pivot is clinical, literally. When these sites vanish, the replacement isn't a full grocer. It's usually a discounter up the road, a dollar format with tight SKU discipline, or nothing. That reroutes your basket into rigid sets. One brand of pasta, 2 sauces, no organic aisle, take it or leave it. Prices are lower, choices shrink, and variety becomes a weekend hobby, not a Tuesday habit. Number 4. Raley's Supermarket. A polished West Coast store goes dark. So did tastes change, or did the lease clock run out? Here's the thing. With Raley's, the vibe looks like a retreat from premium, but the math screams real estate. It's a California closure, not a brand meltdown. And it's a reminder that the nicest cheese island can't outvote the rent schedule. Raley's runs a selective, premium-heavy map. Think refined perimeter departments, curated organics, strong private label, and a loyal, higher-spend core. Closing one California site fits a pattern of tightening the network rather than chasing every zip code. It's a portfolio move. Keep the top performers, drop the boxes that won't justify fresh capital. But here's the catch. Those gleaming bakery cases and sushi counters come with high ops costs and wage floors that don't care about basket size on a rainy Tuesday. If a store sits in the mid-volume tier, labor, refrigeration, utilities, and shrink stack up fast. The monthly P&L starts acting like a leaky faucet, annoying at first, then ruinous. California turns the screws on rent too. Annual escalations add up, and renewal rounds can spike like a bad gym membership contract. You think it's small, then bam, you're paying for towel service you don't use. Meanwhile, Aldi slices price, grocery outlet poaches deal hunters, and Costco pulls the big basket families. Premium has to win on loyalty frequency. Miss 2 trips a month and the flywheel slows. Premium grocers live on predictable repeat baskets. You need that customer hitting produce weekly, deli twice, and prepared foods on Friday night. If road construction, a new club store, or a shifting commute nudges them off pattern, revenue dips hard and the cost base doesn't flex. The margin evaporates faster than a sample tray at noon. So landlords get involved. You'll hear offers of TI allowances, money for renovations, in exchange for longer terms and often higher face rent. If the math still whiffs, the conversation flips to relocation. Same trade area, smaller, cheaper box, tighter assortment, and better parking flow. It's surgical, not sentimental. There's also the dark store risk. Operators can carve backroom kitchen space for delivery prep and curbside staging while keeping the front dark. No public produce section, just a humming back of house making app orders whole. It's retail cosplay. Outside looks like a market, inside it's logistics. The community loses specialty assortment when that door locks. That weird olive oil you loved, the bakery loaf with the impossible crust, the holiday seafood push, gone. What shows up next usually leans value over variety. Lower prices, fewer SKUs, less theater. Efficient? Yes. Inspiring? Not so much. Number 5, Family Dollar. If your weekly eggs rode on the dollar aisle, this purge hits the fridge first. Family Dollar is getting swept up in Dollar Tree's big reset. Thousands of stores under review, hundreds cut loose, and the grocery corner is collateral. It's real. It's happening. So here's the thing. Those compact stores slipped essentials into low-income corridors where a full grocer wouldn't pencil. Milk, eggs, boxed dinners, shelf-stable everything. Not glamorous, but it kept kitchens running between paychecks. When that door locks, the gap shows up the same night someone needs baby formula at 8:45. But here's the catch. A lot of sites weren't failing on sales alone. They were failing on safety and upkeep. Chronic shrink erodes thin margins, broken coolers kill perishable categories, deferred repairs make the store feel sketchy and speed the drop in traffic. The math gets ugly fast. When your profit is a few pennies a dollar, 1 month of heavy loss turns the location into a money pit. The remodel or close line moves based on who else is nearby. If Aldi or Walmart already owns the value narrative in that trade area, the threshold for saving a family dollar rises. Why dump capital into refrigeration, lighting, and security when the neighbor can undercut you on a gallon of milk and a 12-pack? That calculus pushes borderline stores into the trim column. On the ground, the exits leave weird food maps. Think stretches where the only walkable option after 7 p.m. is a gas station with a 3-door cooler, canned soup, and vibes. You can live on it, sure, but the bill stacks with convenience pricing. And if you don't drive, the 5-block grocery run becomes a rideshare receipt or a long bus loop with melting ice cream. Let that sink in. Placements move fast, but not toward a traditional grocer. Vacant spaces flip to other discounters chasing the same bargain traffic, or they go dark store, a stocked backroom feeding delivery drivers and curbside lanes. The sign changes, the shopping style changes more. You're ordering SKUs from a list, not browsing end caps for an unplanned deal. Households adapt. Longer trips for the big haul, more delivery to cover the midweek miss. It's trading spontaneity for predictability. You'll save a few bucks on staples in the discount grid, then tip a driver or eat a service fee for the late-night restock. It's like paying a gym membership just to use the showers. You get the function, not the fun. Number 6. Walgreens pharmacy/grocery. Walgreens was your emergency grocery at 10 p.m. until the lights went out. The almond packs, the milk, the I forgot bread, gone with a quiet note on the door. You feel it the first time your recipe stalls at step 3 and there's no quick fix within 5 blocks. So here's the thing. Walgreens is rolling out targeted closures that mirror the front-end squeeze we've seen before. Less space for snacks, fewer coolers, shorter hours, then select stores off the board. The pharmacy/grocery hybrid that propped up your late-night staples is thinning out by design. But here's the catch. When you erase that hybrid convenience, you carve tiny deserts into the map after work hours. Not the dramatic headline kind. More like invisible gaps that only show up when you need eggs at 9:47. It's death by scheduling. Your spontaneity gets taxed. What's pushing it? Theft spikes wreck the already thin margins in candy, beverages, and OTC add-ons. Labor costs climb, security isn't free, and pharmacy reimbursement pressure squeezes the core business. The chain responds the only way a spreadsheet knows how. Fewer, more profitable sites with tighter controls and less risk. The store count shrinks. The average basket shifts to what's defensible. Here's the twist. The pharmacy is morphing into a clinic. More consultation rooms, vaccines, testing, and care services mean floor space competes. Every gondola of chips has to justify itself against a revenue stream with appointments and billable codes. Snacks lose that fight most days of the week. Urban closures cut deepest. Renters depend on walkable options, and the nearest full grocer isn't always a real option at night. The sidewalk ends, the bus headways stretch, and now one milk run becomes a rideshare receipt plus a side of regret. Let that sink in. And replacement patterns don't favor food. These boxes flip to healthcare tenants, specialty medical, or logistics light users that value the corner visibility and parking. You'll see parcel vans, not produce. Dock doors become the main event, while the snack aisle doesn't even get a cameo. People don't pivot to farmers markets at 10 p.m. They pivot to apps. A delivery fee here, a tip there, a minimum order you didn't plan for. It's like paying surge pricing for a gallon of milk. You get relief, sure, but your budget hates you in the morning. Number 7. Independent regional grocery closures, small chains. The store that knew your kid's name gets replaced by a spreadsheet. You feel it when the produce guy who always slipped you a ripe avocado vanishes and the lease math takes his place. It's real. It's happening. Independent and small regional chains are closing across multiple states because their costs outrun their flexibility. They can't float rent spikes, utility jumps, and security spend without the scale that lets bigger rivals negotiate everything down to the shelf tag. One stormy month and the margin is gone. But here's what nobody tells you. These operators survive on service and local assortment. Cut-to-order meats, regional hot sauces, the pierogi brand your grandma swore by. Landlords want higher face rent at renewal. Distributors want volume for better pricing. The neighborhood favorite gets squeezed from both ends and the loyalty points don't pay the electric bill. Case by case, it looks like this. Midwestern outfits with 3 to 10 stores stare down a renewal with an ugly escalation clause. The landlord offers tenant improvement cash if they sign longer at a higher rate. The chain runs the math, swallows hard, and surrenders the lease. Not because sales imploded, but because renewal terms made staying irrational. Here's the catch. Wholesaler terms and private label wars tilt the table. The giants use volume to muscle down costs, then weaponize store brand pricing. Hard discounters run tight SKU sets that move fast and cheap. Small chains buy from the same wholesalers but at worse rates, so they either eat the margin or mark up and watch baskets drift. What happens to the box? In a lot of towns, it converts to a grocery outlet or an Aldi. The shelf stays, the assortment compresses, and the prices drop. Where the numbers don't work, the lights come back on as micro-fulfillment. Racks, totes, and staging for delivery drivers. Less browsing, more bin scanning. The community hit is bigger than a shopping list. You lose specialty items, sure, but also the local fundraiser table at the entrance. The first job for teens. The manager who knew who was short until Friday. That soft infrastructure doesn't migrate when a discount banner takes the keys. Shoppers adjust fast. They migrate to discount formats and accept tighter choices. 1 pasta, 2 sauces, no 14 olive oil aisle. The trade is clear. Fewer decisions for a cheaper basket. It's like swapping a Swiss Army knife for a box cutter. Clean, efficient, limited. Number 8. Shoppers supermarket closures. If you grew up on Shoppers subs, brace yourself. The map is missing dots. You don't notice it until your usual weekend run detours 2 exits, and the deli that knew your order is gone. It's real. It's happening. Shoppers is peeling back locations in Maryland and beyond into 2026. Not a dramatic wipeout, but a steady trim that redraws the grocery grid. Closures land where stores overlap and lease clocks hit at the wrong time. When the renewal jumps in a sibling trade area can cover the same households, the exit writes itself. Here's the catch. Those mid-price anchors were the safe middle, not the cheapest, not the fanciest, but predictable. In suburban nodes around Bowie, Laurel, and the inner Beltway edges, that predictability kept weeknight dinners sane. Now, overlap plus lease timing is the guillotine. If 2 sites chase the same carts, the one with the uglier rent bump loses. Let's break the corridor down. DC to Baltimore suburbs run on commuter patterns and chunky strip centers. The sales to lease math rules here. A store with steady baskets but rising cam charges and an aging refrigeration line can't keep pace. If a nearby box has better ingress, newer coolers, and a cleaner lease, management consolidates traffic there. The lot still fills on Saturdays. It just won't be that lot. Real estate optimization beats tradition every time. Once a Shoppers goes dark, landlords slice the shell. You'll see the big box split into 2 or 3 bays. Fitness, quick serve, maybe a value apparel tenant, or flipped outright to a hard-value grocer. The deli case becomes drywall. The seafood counter turns into backroom storage. Nostalgia doesn't sign a 5-year option. Customers feel it in the aisles first. The broad deli menu and the international row, plantains, bulk spices, halal cuts, get replaced by tighter discount sets. Fewer SKUs, faster turns, fewer "I'll try that" moments. It's efficient, like a vending machine with better lighting, but the serendipity is gone. Transit and parking constraints slow replacements. Inner ring sites juggle bus stops, narrow curb cuts, and awkward truck access. A full-line grocer wants clean docks and roomy lots. If the site can't deliver, negotiations drag. Months pass. The neighborhood lives on convenience stores and the nearest value chain with a decent lot. Residents adapt by weaving a new routine. Aldi or another discounter for the weekly basics. A bulk run to the warehouse club every few weeks for proteins and paper goods. Then delivery top-offs for perishables when schedules explode. It's list-driven, not aisle-driven, and it sticks once families lock the pattern. Number 9. Price Chopper / Market 32. The rebrand promised nicer stores, so why are some going dark? Market 32 signs went up, aisles got shinier, and then select locations started whispering about closures. It feels backwards. You repaint the house, then sell off a few rooms. Let that sink in. Here's the thing. Price Chopper / Market 32 is reportedly trimming a handful of sites as part of network fine-tuning. Not a meltdown, a tune-up. They're keeping the best trade areas, the stores with clean ingress and big baskets, and quietly retiring boxes that don't clear the return hurdle. It's clinical, and it's happening. But here's the catch. Reinvestment isn't universal. If a store's ROI sits at the bottom of the stack, capital dries up. No new cases, no fresh lighting, no expanded prepared foods. Then sales lag even more because the sparkle next town over makes your location look dated. Low ROI becomes no ROI. The cut follows. You can spot the long game exits by where the upgrades skipped. A few northeast towns watched nearby locations get the full Market 32 treatment. New bakery ovens, sleek produce, big cafe energy. While their box got minor refreshes at best. That's a tell. It says leadership wants coverage in the region, but not necessarily that specific corner forever. The refresh raises expectations. Once you've shopped the updated store, the older layout feels like dial-up internet. Same bananas, different experience. Underperformers stand out as the before photo, and that gap shows up in weekly trips. Shoppers start driving past the legacy box to the renovated one, and the traffic drop becomes the excuse to stop funding the also-ran. Then the landlord steps in. Post-rehab comps push rents higher. Centers point to that glossier Market 32 across the county and say, "See the lift? Only winners get the checkbook at renewal." If your site sits on awkward access, older refrigeration, or a cramped dock, the ask won't pencil. The lease clock becomes the guillotine, and the competitive triangle is unforgiving. Walmart supercenters eat the big weekly haul. Club stores peel off proteins and paper goods like it's a sport. Aldi hammers the value seeker with tight SKUs and speed. Mid-tier has to deliver a great experience plus fair prices. Miss either and trips migrate. So what fills a dark box? Often a discount banner sliding into the shell, shrinking the assortment, and cutting prices. Or the space gets carved into 3 bays. Fitness, quick service, maybe a dollar format, spreading risk and parking. The vibe flips from one-stop shop to errand strip. Number 10. Smaller supermarket brands. Different names, same ending. Select stores close and a discount sign goes up. You walk by a legacy logo you grew up with, then come back 2 months later, and it's an orange bargain banner with half the SKUs and a faster checkout. Let that sink in. Here's the thing. Smaller banners are shuttering individual sites where leases and margins don't line up. This industry runs on 1 to 3% margins, so one ugly renewal, one labor bump, one broken refrigeration line, and the math stops working. The operator doesn't hate the neighborhood, the spreadsheet does, but here's the catch. Each closure feels local, grandma's store, your first job, but lined up across states, it's a national rebrand. Hard value and delivery are winning the floor space. The box that once hosted 10 salad dressings now sells the 2 that move, and ships the rest from a warehouse with a QR code. Let's break it down with examples. Shaw's Trims in New England, dropping select sites where overlapping trade areas and lease clocks hit together. Piggly Wiggly exits tied to lease expirations show the same pattern. If renewal terms spike and a nearby store can absorb trips, the keys change hands. It's not a mystery, it's renewal math. What fills the shell? A lot of these boxes convert to Aldi or grocery outlet. Same parking lot, new discipline. Tight SKU counts, aggressive private label, and end caps that move. Where a discounter doesn't bite, the space goes dark store. Shelving in the back, totes on racks, pickers with scanners feeding app orders. You never browse it, you just meet it at the curb. You make a trade whether you mean to or not. Brand loyalty for predictably cheaper baskets and fewer decisions. It's like swapping a buffet for a meal kit. Less variety, less stress, and a bill that behaves. You don't debate cereal anymore, you take the one on the shelf and get out in 8 minutes. Operators call it optimization. Rotate capital to the winners, shut the laggards, standardize assortments. Consumers don't feel optimized, they feel shrink-wrapped choice. The aisle that once surprised you with a new sauce now serves a single label with a good price and no story. Here's the twist. As more boxes flip, the whole ecosystem shifts from browsing to routing. You build algorithmic lists, you accept substitutions, you schedule your groceries like a dentist appointment. Serendipity gets taxed, efficiency gets rewarded. Many pay off. This is the great store flip. Fewer one-stop shops, more efficient funnels. You still get groceries, you just buy them through a narrower pipe. The deals are sharp, the choices are blunt, and the map keeps nudging you toward the fast lane. So where does that leave you, me, and the weekly cart? Here's the thing. The one-stop shop didn't die. It morphed into a maze. Discount aisles here, delivery nodes there, fewer places to linger, more places to pick up and bounce. It's like swapping a food court for a series of drive-thrus. Fast, efficient, and kind of joyless. Like this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important and drop your verdict. Are you okay trading choice for cheaper baskets? Yes or no? You're not losing groceries. You're being redirected. Now you know the map. Use it. Grab the deals, route the errands, and keep your list tight, because the aisles aren't waiting for you anymore. That's it for today. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more updates you won't want to miss.